What's going on, everybody? This is your boy RT, aka Teezy, and welcome to my podcast, Keeping Up with Teezy. Now, before I get on to this episode, I want to give a big shout out to those who had liked and subscribed my channel, Keeping Up with Teezy on YouTube, and as well those who have watched my latest 2 episodes. I want to give a shout out for y'all for that. Thank y'all. And like I said, there's plenty more to come, dude. Trust me. So, you know, and as well, give a shout out to Anchor, YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, to giving me this platform to upload all the latest episodes on this podcast. I want to thank y'all for that as well. So, on this topic, on this episode, should I say, on this episode, I want to talk about one of the biggest things that everybody's going through in this world right now. And there's a real sickness out there, that may be hard to get rid of, but it's only you that could overcome it. In this topic, I want to talk about mental health, mental illness. And like I said, it's a sickness. Like, I wouldn't wish that on nobody, man. Like, especially the type of environment and the surroundings you be around with at times. Like, it's just like certain things that will make you just go off the wall, you know. And it's not a pleasant feeling at all. It's not a pleasant feeling to feel this way, because especially, you know, if you know the person, they don't know what they're going through in life, you know, because that's why you always make sure to look after, take care, and as well as talk to them of what's they going on with their life. Even if they trying to block you out on certain things, like, you always gotta try to make sure just to help them at any time before it's too late. Because like I said, I wouldn't wish that on nobody, man. Like, mental health is very serious. Like, it's not, like I said, it's not a pleasant feeling. Like, I just like, it's even hard for me to even talk about it. Like, because as a person, as myself, going through the same situation myself, like, I try my best not to. I try my best not to, get in my moods every now and then, but especially like on certain things that just have me go crazy. Like, I just try my best to not to think about it, overthink about it too much, and just move on with my day. That's it. You know, and and like I said, it's a real big thing for me. Like, cause I had this issue since I was 14. Like, I remember one day when I was in middle school, um, I was in this class where at this class where I could do. Sorry, y'all, for my speech. Like, that's another reason too. Like, I get like insecure you know, when I talks at times, cause it seemed like I'm not making sense or anything. So bear with me, y'all. Bear with me. You know, I was at this class in middle school, and we had to do some painting or whatever. Just create a project, some sorts. And I remember I was painting something, and most of the colors I had used was like mostly all red, you know. And I think I had drew like a little hangman picture or whatever. Like it was just like all red, you know. Like even looking back at it now, man, like that kind of frightens me even talk about it, you know, because I'm not the type of person that divulge stuff like that, because stuff like that I take very personal, you know. But yeah, and I remember I showed it to my teacher, and at the time I was feeling sad, like I was feeling all kind of depressed. So I didn't know what was wrong with me at the time until, you know, I went to my counselor and everything and told him, you know, I wanted to kill myself and all that. Even though I didn't have the balls to do it, like I just rather have somebody just to take my life instead. And you know, and I was telling all my counselor all these things that I was feeling and whatnot, and it was just like a big sympathy party, you know, to the point where they had to take me to this little, I think it was the Children's Hospital by DC, where you know, where people was like having like suicide thoughts and depression, all that, you know. And I remember I went there at DC like in the middle of the night, and I had to get registered and get admitted and everything. So, and I was there for like 2 weeks. Yeah, I was there for 2 weeks, and you know, mm, sorry y'all, but yeah, it was, you know, it was a time to be alive in those times, man. Like it was something else, because I remember when I first got there, like I just felt like I was so all alone, you know. But before I even get to that story, like the things that had kind of lead up to my depression is when I had a friend that used to live next door to me. This is when I was like in North Virginia in Centerville. Like I was friends with this dude. Like me and him were like brothers. Like we was like real close until he had to move to Nevada at the time. You know, even though at the time he left, like I had like people that I was really cool with, but it seemed like at that time I ain't had that much bond with them more than I did with my friend. So especially once everybody was moving out, it was just like I felt all alone. Like I ain't had nobody to talk to or anything. Like I just felt shut out. And then at the time, man, like it seemed like my family was like falling apart when my sisters and them just kind of like moved out of the house. So it was just me and mom. So I really didn't have anybody to talk to other than her. But even then, I didn't even talk to her like that. Like I just like immediately just shut out. You know, I just be in my room, just locked up, being there by myself. Like, it's like I said, it was like a phase that I had went through at that time, but I didn't realize it got up to that point. You know, because that's why, like I said, like you will never know until it's too late. So, hold on. Ooh, yeah, but yeah, cause like I said, I was in my room locked up, Didn't had nobody to talk to or anything like that. Like I just felt like I was shut out. Like I ain't had nobody to talk to or nothing. Like it seemed like my whole life just was about to come to a whole end. Like shit is like, especially by the time I got older, it's like shit wasn't the same. Like, and at the time I was just starting middle school and whatnot, man. Like it was just one hell of a change I went through. Being like fucking 13 at the time. You know, it was rough. It was real rough. You know, and that kind of led towards my depression. And like I said, and I was at the hospital in D.C. Like I said, it was one quite a day experience. Like, you know, it was one quite an experience. Like I met all kinds of people that was kind of going through the same thing I was going through. You know, and then it's like being there at that time. I feel like I was like in a whole like mental hospital, pretty much. But it wasn't like people went crazy or none of that. Like everybody in that joint was just chill. Like we would be playing pool, eating lunch together, all that shit. Like I feel like I was in a whole different environment. Like you know. And then I remember one time, um, like I kind of had went to therapy when I was there. So yeah, so I had went to therapy. Then I had my mom there. You know, it was just a weird time to sit there and divulge all these feelings I had while my mom was sitting right there, like right across from me, just saying all this stuff, man. Like I didn't know. I didn't even think how hard. I didn't even think, how hard she took it. Because I always felt like she didn't care at the time, but I knew deep down she did. You know, because like I said, especially at that time period, man, like I was just like not myself. You know, just like I said, just having her to sit right there, telling her I want to kill myself and all that stuff, like it really broke her heart. Like it really did, man. Like I really didn't think, you know, like it's just like seeing her across the room, just seeing her crying, just kind of broke my heart as well. Cause that was like one of the first times I ever seen mom like that. The longest I've been around her, like I never see her like that, and that's probably the only time I ever see her cry like that. Cause I just don't like to see moms like that, man, at all. Like it just fucked me up completely. You know, and that's when like that week before I left the hospital, that's when I was like, I need to get better at myself. You know, it was just like God telling me like He gave me another chance to, you know, reevaluate things and give me another shot at life. Cause just to think, if I'd have had went through that shit, killing myself or whatever, it would have been devastating. Hell, I wouldn't be doing this podcast right now. Like, that's how bad shit would have went. But like I said, I didn't even think I had the heart to do that shit to myself, man. Like, I can't even do it. Like, I get squeamish trying to pinch myself, man. Like, I don't even like that shit. But after a while, I just kind of got used to it. So, yeah, And then, like I said, by the time I left the hospital, like, I feel like I changed. Like, I feel like I changed so much since leaving that hospital. Because, like, not just, like, emotionally or mentally, but the things I used to do, like, when I was, like, way before I even went through that phase, man, like, I was just, like, you know, like, especially when I was growing up, man, I used to shower, like, once a day, like, once a week, should I say. Once or twice a week. And then by the time I left the hospital, that's when I started showering every day. Every day. And I've been doing that ever since. you know. And then just like, started to be positive more often. Like and just started being more positive. Especially the group of people I was hanging around especially the group of people that I was hanging around with at the time, man. Like, like I said, that's when it's like God just tell me, like, you still young, like, you still got a life to live. Like, don't ruin something that you're gonna regret later on. you know? Like, ever since then, I'd have been thinking about that shit. Like, even to this day, I'd be thinking about shit like that. So, yeah, man, it was a time, man. It was the time, you know, that I went through shit like that. Like, even now, like, even though I kind of have my doubts, I have, like, my doubts of depression here and there, but it's not severe as when I first had it. It's almost seemed like I'm bipolar at that, cause every once in a while, like, when shit don't get in my way or something bothers me, like, my whole mood just changed just like that. Cause if something pisses me off, man, like, I get in my moods real quick to the point where I get, like, when I show my expression, like slamming doors or anything at the matter. Cause like I said, I still have my doubts here and there, but at least I have the, you know, how should I put this? At least I have, the ability to control it, to get to, to get me not to get to that point where I just, legit harm myself or anything. Like, I have that ability to control it before it goes any further, you know? And that's something, like, people have to do nowadays. Like, when you go through something, like, you gotta have the ability to control things. you know, and things may not go your way or whatever, but sometimes you just gotta roll with the punch. You know, like, just leave stuff alone, man, and just move on. Like, it's just you that gotta control that shit. You know. So, yeah, man, like depression is no joke. Cause, like I said, I still have my doubts here and there. Like, I have my battles with it every now and then, but I managed to try to overcome as possible to get to, to be at that point where I'm just like about to kill myself. Especially now that I got a fiance, a wedding next year. Like, I can't afford to lose all that all at once over some stupid shit. You know? Like to me, that's like the most two important things that I got going on right now. Besides, taking care of my mother and stuff. But you know, like I have a purpose of being here. You know, like you said, you only live once, so use it wisely. You know, and like having depression, man. Like even though I had my doubts, man. Like even at that time, man. Like I'd be like so insecure on like how I used to look. Even now, I have that feeling, but I'm just like I don't care for that. Cause like I said, every time like I walk past people, like they always give me these weird ass looks, like I came from a fucking outer planet or some shit. Like I came from another planet. Like, and I used to hate that shit, and that shit always used to make me feel so insecure, as if I was not good looking or anything like that. Like especially when motherfuckers be telling me, "Oh, I'm ugly and you're this and that." Like, even then I didn't, you know, where I don't be like crying about it or whatever. Cause at the same time, it kind of hurt me though. Should I say? Like it hurt me to the point, man, where I'm just like, you know, like what should I do? Like, but I never had that thought where I'm like, oh, I'm gonna change this, I'm gonna change that. Like, I'm not changing shit for anybody. Especially now, man, because I don't give a fuck what people gotta say. Like, if you think I'm cute or whatever, so be it. If don't, you could suck a dick. Pause. Cause I don't care for nobody's opinions. Like, your opinions don't matter to me. So, and I'm not here to shake no hands or kiss anybody's ass for approval. That's not what I came to this world for. Like, that's not me. Cause that's one role I'll never do is be brown nosing motherfuckers. Cause they don't know me like that. you know. Cause like I said, that's why at the time, man, like I used to get like real irritated when people always talking shit about me. As if they ain't got a life of their fucking own. Like, especially if you on my ass constantly and I don't even fucking know you. Like, why are you on my neck for? Like, I ain't say or did anything to you. Like, I'm minding my business just like everybody else. Why can't you? You know? Because the last thing I'm worried about is you or everybody else in this world. Like, I got people I gotta look out for. Like, if you don't like how I look, fuck you. Like, and that's on everything I love. Like, you could eat a whole dick. Because I'm not here to appease anybody. Like, I'm grateful how I look and all that such. I know how to take care of myself. Like, don't get that shit twisted. Like I said, I always shower every day. I make sure my shit is clean no matter what. Even if I wore the same thing twice, same shirt and all, I'll still be looking fresh. Like, don't play yourself. And that's the type of confidence that everybody needs to have. Not to worry about what the other person look and all that shit. But that's like I said, that's for another story. you know. But like I said, I don't care for none of that shit, man. Like now, being 30 and all, like I don't care what people say. Like y'all could suck a dick if y'all don't like me or not. I'm gonna be me regardless to the fucking death of me. that's how the story gonna end. Like that's it. Fuck you. And then and then at the time I was at the hospital and shit. Like when I got home after the hospital, you know, well, scratch that. Before I went to the hospital, I remember my mom. She used to have pictures of all of us, all of our families be hanging up in the walls and shit. And by the time I came back home from the hospital, it's like everything just disappeared. Like what happened here? That's when mom was like, you know, that's when mom was feeling a certain way, man. And I kind of had to understand how she felt, you know, because she always felt like, you know, it wasn't, it wasn't the same no more. Like we didn't have a family no more. Because everybody was on some bullshit. Either they moved out or, you know, was having another, having somebody that has another mental illness besides myself, man. It seemed like she almost seemed like the whole family was falling apart. But I never left her side, man. Like I always stuck by her, even to this day. You know, I ain't going nowhere. You know, cause all that shit is past me, man. Like even then, like all that shit is past me. You know, we still a family, no matter if it's me and you or whoever. We in this shit together. You know, but at the same time, it kind of had hurt me though, cause I'm just like, what the fuck happened? Like, what happened to all the pictures and stuff that was hung up on the wall and all that shit? Like, what happened to that? So, like I said, at that time, it was rough. you know? And then, of course, my sister, and then at the time, she was bipolar. And then later on, she ended up having schizophrenia. It, like, even to this day, I don't even talk to her because, like, the shit she be posting on Facebook, I just can't rock with. Like, some I can't respect. So, like, when I remember I seen one of her posts, like, and she was talking shit about me sucking dick or whatever, like, that shit pissed me off. I was like, dog, y'all, man, I was like, like, it was typical of her to say some shit like that, cause I'm just like, that ain't true. Like a motherfucker would have to kill me before I end up going down that route. Like I ain't no homophobe or nothing or anything, but I'll be dead before I end up going down that route. I'm sorry. Her ass, no, that ain't gonna happen. Never. She was just talking about shit about me, her own mother, and her own sister. And it was just like, and that's all. Most of the Facebook stats she posted was all about us, especially when it came to our mother. And I'm just sitting there, just like, what are you doing to yourself? Like, what are you doing with yourself, man? That's why I knew she's not on her meds like she's supposed to be. Like she, and that's the reason why I just don't even bother talking to her, cause she always do shit like that. Like even the time when she stayed with me and mom at the time, and this is when I was like, when I was about to start my senior year in high school, she had stayed with us. And then started to see the change of her when she had this illness. And I remember I used to go downstairs to get something to eat in the kitchen. Then I hear her laughing. And there's like no kind of noise or not even a TV. Like nothing was on. Like it was straight silence. So I remember I was just looking at I was just looking at her. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So I immediately had to go upstairs in my room right after that shit. After I seen that shit. Cause I was like, okay, she has got to be off on her meds. And then like later on, like within a 4 or 5 month span, she was there with us. She used to end up calling the police at least 5 times. 5 times she called them, and nothing didn't happen. Like she would literally end up calling them while mom is at work, and I'm upstairs in my room the whole time. So, oof. So, and I'm just like, why is she calling the police for? Like, ain't nothing happened. Like, it's nothing happening here. Like, why is she calling on them for? Like, it was just weird of her to do that shit. And, and they got to that point, man, the last time the police even came to our house at that time was when, like I remember I came home from after school one day, came inside, and I see kind of like gasoline fluid all over the house. So, and then I remember I seen that shit in the mirror. I'm like, what the hell happened here? Like, where did she go? And then that's when she told me that the police ended up taking her somewhere. Because she almost tried to burn the apartment down with mom sleeping in there. Like, she poured all the gasoline fluid in the room or whatever and turned the oven on all the way up to 450, to the point where that shit could have had just burned down the whole apartment. And luckily mom managed to smell that shit on time before anything. And I was just like, dog, what the fuck? I swear, I will never forget that moment, man, because I'm glad mom had smelled that shit in the nick of time, because if she did it, God forgive me, man, like hell would have broke loose. And I would have never forgive my own sister for that. Because I would end up having to take that bid. Because that's some shit I can't rock with, man. Like, that's why I just kind of, cut ties with her. Like, I just didn't want to do nothing with her or by any means. Like, even now when mom asks me if I want to reconcile with her, I'm like, for what? Especially when she threw away all of our shit when our asses was homeless. Didn't even have a fucking dime. We had to put our shit at her place at the time. And then she managed to throw away all of our stuff away like it's nothing. Like, that's when I really had to cut ties with her. Like, that's when I was just like, I'm done. Cause I was like, if she keep pulling this shit, I'm just not gonna come over there and kiss her ass. No. Cause I just don't have time for shit like that. I don't. Cause you could sit there and try to sing kumbaya and all that other bullshit, but for me, when I hold a grudge, I hold a grudge. Cause when you do something I don't like, trust me, you dead to me. You are dead to me. Period. No ands, ifs, or buts about it. Once you do the dumbest shit, like once you do some shit like that, you're dead to me. Like you're done. Cause don't think I'm gonna come back kissing your ass, cause that ain't gonna happen. No sir. You know. You know, and like I said, man, mental health is no joke. You know, I don't wish that shit on nobody, man. Like that's something that hold on. That's something, you know, people gotta watch out for, man. Gotta watch out for the signs. You know, to make sure to prevent that shit before it's too late. Like it's never too late to prevent anything. No matter how shit can go. And then another thing, I was gonna try to discuss this on a different topic, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Like, and then I was diagnosed with autism. I forgot how old I was when I got diagnosed. I think I had to be about like 5 when I was diagnosed, and I didn't even realize that shit. And that kind of seemed like, and you know, and it kind of seemed like why, like when I was in school, they would always put me in these smaller classes where I'm like within 5, 6 people, you know, instead of like, you know, the normal class. Like even when I was in elementary school, um, you know, like I used to be rolling up with like 29 people up in that jump, but you know, but at times as far as like math, history, science, and all that stuff was concerned, like that was like on a separate thing, where it was just like where I'm in this class where I'm like pretty much getting like a whole breakdown of everything that goes down. You know, as far as that topic we're discussing, you know, and I remember I used to have these IEP classes where I used to have like every teacher I had back when I was like middle and high school. I used to have that shit like every year and just kind of discuss how I was doing in school and all that shit. And I didn't even think that was necessary for me, but it's like only certain people that work in a smaller class or have autism and stuff like that, you know. I didn't affect it. I didn't let that shit affect me none. Like having autism, like I just don't let that stuff affect me. I don't, cause I pretty much could do what almost everybody can do nowadays. Like you know, like I know what 2 plus 2 is and all that other stuff, man. I like I'm smart enough to know some shit. Let's just put it that way. You know. And then I remember I used to have speech therapy. And I don't even think I used to have that shit until like my junior year in high school. And I didn't even think it was necessary for me to even have speech therapy because I thought at the time my speech was very good. Like I know how to talk, you know. But you know, like I was just like, but I just kind of dealt with this shit. Should I say? I just kind of dealt with this shit and just go along with it. Like I don't sweat shit like that, none. You know, cause like me being diagnosed from stuff like that, I don't like I said, I don't let stuff like that affect me to do what I have to do on an everyday basis. You know, I just do things like everybody else is doing. Well, half of everybody else is doing, especially now. You know, but you know, I just don't let that shit affect me. Like, I just do what I gotta do and move on with my life and live my life. Like, that's it. Like, and not like I said, and I'm big on autism. Like, I'm big on like autism awareness and stuff. Like, like I said, I condone, and support the autism awareness, because as well as being a part of the spectrum. Because like my brother and sister-in-law, they got that stuff too. They got autism as well. So like I said, like I'm heavy on that. I'm heavy on autism deeply. And I take that shit personal. Like, especially when you call them a retard. that's that's something I take very personal, especially when you call me that shit. But you may, like I said, you may call me this and that, but that won't mean I won't be retarded and knock your ass out on everything. Like, it could go either way, baby, because like I'll show you who's retarded. Let's see if I knock your whole fucking front tooth out. Cause I'm like, I ain't the one. Like, trust me. And I had somebody say that shit to me back when I was in Job Corps. Like, I kind of overheard them when they was talking about me. So I'm just like, really? Because like I said, when people talk shit like that to me, I have no respect for them. None. Because like I said, once you say shit like that, you're dead to me. Like, I don't like that shit. Because like I said, like, I get emotional when I hear somebody have autism and stuff. Because they going through the same shit I'm going through. Like I'm very high functional when it comes to stuff like that. Because like I said, I take that shit personal. Especially when you call me that, like, you gonna get a different outcome. Because don't think I'm just gonna be crying to my mom or none of that shit. Like, you and me gonna handle that shit one-on-one. That's on everything. We're gonna see who's retarded. And I don't even like using that word. But I will knock your ass out. Please believe. And then, like I said, I don't wish that shit on nobody. Because not everybody is born perfect. Not everybody is born perfect. Like I said, you just gotta roll with the punches and just live your life the way you want it to be. Like, you ain't gotta be, entertain everybody in their bullshit. Like, you just do what you gotta do and move on with your life. Fuck them. And I'm gonna try to wrap this shit up short. And like I said, man, like, mental health, man, like, mental illness is a serious thing that needs to be taken care of immediately. Because like I said, if you're seeing the signs that somebody has that problem, make sure you get to that immediately before anything else happens. And as far as like my example on how I'm living my life right now, like I said, I try my best not to overthink shit too much. That will lead me to have my mood swings or whatever. Like, I just try to make the best things out of it and just think positive. Think positive and be positive. Once you do that, you'll live a positive life. As long as you have God, nothing else matters. you know, because like I said, you just gotta overcome it and control it. Like it maybe not be easy for everybody, but like I said, as long as you have God, you know, He'll control it for you. And make sure and He'll make sure that you'll have excuse me, y'all. And He'll make sure He'll show you a reason why you have a purpose in life. Don't worry about what everybody else gotta say. Fuck them. Like there's nobody. Just focus on you. Like don't overthink things and think about God and be positive. And that's all I have to say in the matter. So, like I said, man, that's the end of this episode of Keeping Up with Teezy. So make sure y'all like and subscribe on YouTube, Keeping Up with Teezy. Don't forget. And make sure y'all catch me on Keeping Up with Teezy podcast on SoundCloud, Anchor, Spotify, and YouTube. And follow Keeping Up with Teezy podcast on IG too. No underscore or nothing like that. Just Keeping Up with Teezy podcast. That's it. And just be on the lookout for some new episodes. And I hope y'all got to listen to this episode. Like I said, there'll be more to come very soon. And hopefully, if I have enough money, whatever, I'm hoping if I can sell some merch. But like I said, that's like months from now. Once I really could get this shit popping for y'all support. And I want to thank y'all for listening too. So like I said, just be on the lookout and like and subscribe. Follow me on Keeping Up with Teezy on every platform and as well as on Instagram. So this has been the episode of Keeping Up with Teezy, and I'll hopefully talk to y'all soon. Peace.